Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are responding to our dog, or looking at our dog, Josh Greenfield, Agrand, our almighty savior's Twitter. We're going to look at his most recent tweets. The tweet in question, the first one, is essentially just saying that he got 40 and he enjoyed questing. It didn't feel bad if it was crowded. Not kind of a nothing burger, but whatever. Really love Sod, but the game is a big problem right now. It's too difficult to find a group. Before reading any of this big nothing burger, this is a huge nothing burger tweet. This has been made a problem by Blizzard itself, and we'll talk about that. You'll have to play metaspec. Nothing wrong with this, by the way. Nothing wrong with this. Nothing wrong with having to play a metaspec. I think that choosing an underperforming spec and expecting to get into a group, not having to put in extra work to get into a group, is a very selfish way to play the game. Similar to Ret Paladin Vanilla. Like, well, it's really hard for me to find a group as Ret. Play a different class. Ret sucks. Like, don't expect other people to just be like, okay, yeah, he's comfortable doing that. Doesn't mean we have to be comfortable with that, or 39 other people have to be comfortable with that. So I don't play a meta spec right now. I play a warrior, and that's not going to change. I raid lead a speedrunning guild. We do just fine. I do just fine. But I'm not trying to play like Frost Mage or something like that before anyone comes at me. Let's go through this tweet. I see these comments a lot, and while I genuinely feel for folks with these antidotes, there's not likely a magical wand that a game designer can wave that will fix this. Well, there is a big fix from this, and again, I promise we'll get into that. But the issue is at its core is that there will be people who want to gatekeep for no real reason. This is such a disingenuous, dishonest, and stupid comment that someone has never played the game would ever think this. The reason why this is gatekept, the reason why you wouldn't bring heavy melee comp into Noma right now, the reason why you wouldn't bring a Frost Mage or something like that is because they do low damage. That's the reason why. The current raid iteration does not favor melee. So bringing in more melee inherently makes the raid harder for no reason. I don't gain anything from that. The people in my raid don't gain anything from that. You gain nothing from bringing in more melee. So it's not gatekeeping with air quotes. It's, hey, dude, you made a really shit raid with very bad mechanics that destroyed the most popular versions or classes in the game. And you're now saying, well, it's the community that's doing this. It's not really us. It's not. You guys have created this problem. Blizzard has created this problem, and there doesn't really seem to be a fix. So the fact that they're like, well, that was intentional, like, horrible idea, by the way. Horrible concept. We've talked about this for like 12 videos, but it really is just a horrible concept. I'll also say that the ones that gatekeep the hardest are very often the most insecure players themselves. They're not. These are the average people in the game. This is the dad who logs in and has about 2 hours to play and wants to throw together a pug and wants to do it quickly. And by doing that, he's going to take the best comp that he possibly can. He's going to look at the logs. This is the guy who logs in, wants to do some, has limited time, like everyone now who's an adult, and has, I'm 26 and I find that I'm in the lower in the younger spectrum of the game. And you see that and it's like, I'm 26, I get home from work, I have I'm a full-time college student too. If I get home at 5 or 5:30 and I have, let's just say, 4 hours to play, and I'm going to say I want to do the most I can tonight. And I've had this mentality since Classic launched. I want to do the most I can tonight if I'm playing Classic. Do I want to go sit into a pug and eat away an extra like hour just to bring non-meta comps or do a really slow pug for that? Absolutely not. No, I have to wake up and do stuff tomorrow. I don't want to sit there and sit in a non-meta comp just to stick it to the man. That's super lame. It's super lame. No one's doing that. This is genuinely just this whole thing is so disingenuous and disconnected from the actual reality of the player base. It's insecurity being projected. You shouldn't take that as rejection. You should. You should pity that person who has to stack the deck to validate themselves. What like actually just like I physically am like cringing reading this. The reality is that almost any content can and has been cleared by almost any group. So people could do that, choose to be this way. People read this shit and people think this shit like it's like, well, yeah, you didn't need a bunch of warriors in vanilla. Like you could do it with a few Ret Paladins. I've done it that way. I did it with 6 hunters. I did it with 14 healers. I did it with a Ret Paladin. I did it with the Boomkin in the group. I did it with 2 Feral Druids. Like it wasn't very, very fun or rewarding. It was an uphill battle every single raid. We played on a dead server. It's all we had. An uphill battle every single raid. Every single raid, you would pray to God that the good warriors and the meta classes in that raid that were carrying would not quit because you knew you'd be fucked. That's how it was. There's nothing wrong with that. It's how the version of the game was made at the time. But people who say, like, well, it could be cleared. Yeah, it could be cleared, but it's definitely not as rewarding, fun, or better for time management compared to the raid that's taking like 20 warriors or even just a normal amount of warriors. This likely is not what you want to hear, but the best way to play WoW is with a guild. Full stop. Social structures. I agree with this. Like this is actually accurate. I think that pugging and all that is definitely not as fun as being in a guild. I think there's more we can do to help with, to be clear, but there will never be a moment where there aren't jerks. Yeah, dude. Okay. Blah blah blah. I'll wind down this. It will definitely say to have fun in a pug if you're having issues. I don't. This is such a weird. I don't know. I think this is such a weird long answer to this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, hey, sorry we fucked melee, but here's how to fix it. Here's how to fix. I'm assuming this guy plays melee. Like, I actually want to see. Uh, let's just see. We're gonna go through this guy's Twitter. Okay. We're not finding anything that would lead me to believe that this guy is playing melee. Nothing about classic that he's responding to. But I just you have to do a full job interview to find a group. I see this all the time on Reddit. Like these posts got actually taken to Reddit. That's where I saw it. Because I was looking to look at the Boston Celtics game thread today because we're kicking the I'm actually gonna do that. We're actually kicking the Wizards' ass right now. Not a surprise there, but there's a few comments in here that are actually very good, and it's this one. Describing someone with a limited time, I could see Agrant's take being true. If this was back in 2008 or something, like, yeah, I'd understand it. But again, the majority of the player base has grown up and has other responsibilities. But for most pug leaders, it's about saving time. They can't spend 4 hours teaching Gnomer or worse, not even clearing it. That's true. I don't want to do that. No one wants to do that. There's another one. Where's another one? I run my guild. We have 5 members, and we have to plug 1 healer for DPS. We already got pretty good damage, and I check logs when fighting, but I only want to see at least green parses. I think that's a little too. I think that's a little too open. I don't know. Depends on the class, I guess. The content isn't that hard, but I don't want to bring literal deadweight into a raid. I don't think that's elitist. I don't think grey parses should be carried. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Having the lead game developer for this version of the game say that like this is a fragile ego mentality is so it's so out of touch. Like Reddit's even getting on him for that. Like that's when you know you're wrong, dude. Like when you're trying to cater to the elitism is bad crowd and Reddit comes against you, like bro, you fucked up. But here's the best content. Here's the best comment in this entire thread. The problem is that the dev team took classes with high utility and gave them the highest damage. Meanwhile, classes with lower no utility got shafted. In OG Classic, mages and warlocks were near the top DPS behind warriors and rogues, while also having huge utility. However, the optimal rotation was spamming one spell and maybe applying debuffs, so they gave them a bunch of instant damage and better casted effects too. Warriors and rogues did the most damage and scaled the hardest, but had the worst utility. So the devs didn't give them much new utility in either no buttons or underwhelming new buttons. To make matters worse, the runes a lot of classes are getting next phase don't fundamentally change anything in any meaningful way, so you can expect the gulf to be even larger. Phase 3 doesn't look good. The dev team took classes with high utilities to get them the highest damage, 100%, and the reason was almost certainly Agrant caving to YouTubers and streamers. Like, yeah, but it is. There's a lot of people in here who are agreeing that. It is just funny that it's like, I don't know. It is funny. Like if you go and read that thread, like it is funny that Reddit's even coming out with that. So I mean, I don't know. I do think that Agrant and I'm assuming that these opinions are going to reflect the rest of the team. I do think that they are very out of touch. I don't actually have it, but I know the Paladin Discord was roasting Agrant in Wrath, I believe, for his parses. I think he was like green or blue parsing. So I don't know. I don't understand this response. This is someone saying that it's out of my hands when it is completely in his hands as the lead game dev. Like, hey, Magnus Miller, sorry we made a raid that's inherently bad for melee. We gave next level armors to that, and created the biggest gatekeep that happened because gatekeeping was not really happening in phase 1 outside of, again, horrible classes like Shadow Priest maybe in phase 1, Frost Mage in phase 1, Like that stuff was being gatekept because it was very bad, and I don't really think that's even gatekeeping. I think that's just a genuine reason not to bring something. Like, hey, yeah, you're bottom of the meters, you can't come. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think that would qualify as gatekeeping. But like, hey, dude, sorry. Like, we've created this gate that's being open to be kept closed now. Our bad. You know what I mean? Like, that's the community. Like, no, dude, that's such a disingenuous comment. It makes me so mad. Anyways, hope you guys are having a great St. Patrick's Day and you aren't sitting at your computer raging at Josh Greenfield's tweets. But yeah, anyways, hope you guys have had a great weekend. Take care, y'all.